Howdy folks, Rudros here, and I am fresh off the Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas Disney Lorcana Challenge. It's the first one I got to go to this year, so I thought I would come at you with a pretty brief little recap. Don't want to go overly into detail, but just wanted to talk to you about my experience there, whether I would recommend going to one, some things I think they could improve upon for next time, things I think they did really well, and go over my deck really quickly. So I'm going to try to be concise today, get it in and out as quickly as possible. So let's go to my deck first and foremost. So I was running Ruby Amethyst. This is pretty standard for set 4 at this point. This is very close to the list that won Bochum in Germany. I have a few little tech choices here and there, the biggest one being Maui's Fishhook. I think you need some way to be able to answer a Queen's Castle in one attack. Maui's Fishhook lets Maui do that. It also lets cards like Madame Medusa or Fox answer it as well, since it can give them +3 attack. And you could also run Hercules. I've seen some people run that in the red-blue. I don't really like Hercules, plus he's more uninkable. So I opted for the Fishhook. It was always useful anytime I saw it. Plus the Fishhook has the evasive portion, which is a little more troublesome than it probably first seems. And it does let you answer cards like Diablo or Pegasus, whatever evasive card they might have. Technically, too, since I'm running one of Peter Pan, if you have Peter Pan on the field and then you give something, evasive with the Fishhook, you also technically give them Rush because Peter Pan says your evasive characters gain Rush. That didn't really ever come up, but, you know, it's fun that it's there. Other than that, it's all the standard stuff. For Chernabog, I'm on just the 4/1 drops. The Snake, Flynn package, heavily on the Maleficent for the Bucky matchup, and Sisu, Goat, Rabbit, Maui. This is all standard. Medusa, gotta run 4 Brawl, Friends. Some people run 3 Bee King. I actually only own 2, so that's why I ran 2 of those, and 4 Castle. So the only real flex spot, originally I didn't have 1 Tremaine, but I wanted something to be able to take out a Tamatoa, since Medusa can't hit it, and without Tremaine or a Bee King, I have to burn a Be Prepared on it. So it was just kind of nice to have that on a body. Plus, her questing for 2 is quite nice. And then the Peter Pan, I had considered several things. I'd considered another Tremaine. I'd considered a Sorcerer's Spellbook, which is very good in the mirror against Ruby Amethyst. I ultimately went with the Peter Pan because I was anticipating fighting a lot of Bucky, which is this deck's worst matchup. And Peter Pan's very good because he answers Diablo, he answers Baby Pegasus, good against Amethyst, Emerald as well, if you run into that. It didn't end up mattering because I didn't face Bucky once the entire weekend, even in the side events. It was no Bucky whatsoever, so probably would have been better off as a spellbook, but he was fine. He also let me catch a few people off guard where in the mirror match, they had their Flynn out. It's only turn 3. I didn't have anything on the board, and so they're thinking, well, he can't Fox me. I'll quest with the Flynn. It's safe. And then, surprise, Peter Pan Shadow Finder came in. I mainly faced the mirror the whole day, so I was the mayor of Split City. I was the captain of Split City. Out of 9 rounds, I split 8 of them, and I got a single 2-0 against, I think it was an Amethyst Steel deck. But yeah, so I split every single round except that one I 2-0'd, which luckily was enough just to get 30 points, which let me get 20 tickets. So that was kind of nice. That was the goal I was shooting for, but didn't see Bucky at all. Mainly fought the mirror all day long. I think out of 9 rounds, 5 of them were Ruby Amethyst mirror, and I saw like 1 red-blue, 1 blue-gray, and then I think like 2 Steel Song. But yeah, it was mostly the mirror. Didn't see Bucky once, didn't see Bucky the next day on the side events. Side events went a lot better. I actually 3-0'd both the sealed event I was in as well as the constructed event I was in, so that was really nice. But again, I also fought a lot of mirrors there, so it was red-purple mirror for me for most of the day. So that's the deck. Again, nothing really special here to talk about other than I do think Maui's Fishhook is very good, but might drop it next set when that new red Chromacon thing comes out, since that also lets Maui one-shot a castle. So, on to the event itself. All right, so talking about the event, I want to give a shout-out to, I believe his name was Gabe, came up to me, just found me randomly sitting at a table with my friends. I was like, "Are you Rudros? You know, I know your content." So thanks, man. That meant a lot. It was cool to have someone recognize me there. I know I don't always appear on camera for these, so thank you, Gabe. It was really nice to meet you and anyone else. You know, hope they all had fun. Overall, I had a good time. So if you haven't gone to one of these before, one thing there's a couple things you should know. This is not a relaxing weekend. I don't know if you've ever done a big card tournament, but like if you're thinking, oh, you know, this will be kind of vacation, I'll go, and this is not relaxing. It's a very long day, especially that first day of the main event. There was a player meeting at 9, and so, of course, we had to get there early to make sure we were there on time. And I think we left at maybe close to 9 at night. So it's almost a 12-hour day. So it's very long. It's again, you're competing, and if you want to do well, you want to win. It's not relaxing, so be prepared for that. Be prepared. Some things I thought went really well. The event team overall was very kind and efficient. They made things very smooth. Getting to your table was very smooth. All the tables are labeled very clearly. They had different like ink colors, which was kind of cool. And this space was huge. It was very cold in there. So there were actually a few times I would step outside into the nice Texas heat just to warm up a bit because it was so cold in there. But I guess I'd rather be a little cool than burning up, especially when you're focusing on playing cards. But yeah, the event staff was very friendly. I didn't feel like anyone was rude to me or bit my head off or anything, so that was nice. Going with friends, of course, is great. I'd highly recommend it. It's way more fun than just going alone. But that's what you got to do. That's what you got to do as well. So that was really positive. The tickets they've added to the main event to stay in is very good incentive to keep playing because it's so difficult to make top cut. And so for me, pretty quickly, as I was splitting game after game after game, it was just like, okay, I'm not going to make top cut. Like, there's no way I'm just going to start 2-0ing people from here on because clearly I was just meant to split games all day. So the fact that it was like, well, hey, if you get 10 points, you get this many tickets, 20 points, this many, 30, this many tickets for the prize wall, that did give me incentive to stay in and keep playing because otherwise, again, as long as that day is, I'm just going to drop and go. So that was a great addition. I think they did it in Chicago, but just please keep that. Please absolutely keep that. That was great. Side events were very smooth and plentiful. There were so many side events you could sign up for. There was also on-demand events. So on day 2, just because you didn't make Top Cut, there was plenty to do. We came back. There was a mini challenge. There was 2 mini challenges in the morning where it was like 8 rounds, 2-game format, no Top Cut, and it's just wherever you ended after Swiss, you got prize tickets if you made top 64 or top 32 beyond. Those were really neat to see. We ended up just doing a sealed at 11 and then a constructed at 4 p.m. But those were fun. They were smooth. They were pretty quick too. Very on time. When the rounds were ready, they announced it, and they were good about making it very clear because there's a lot of different events in the room. Hey, 11 a.m. sealed. You now have time to start building your decks. And then 11:15 sealed. Now you have time to start building your deck. So the communication was just great. I absolutely loved all of that. And it made it nice and smooth and enjoyable. So yeah, that was fun. So I do have some negatives and some criticism to level at these events going forward. I know some people don't always like to hear that. So if you're not interested, by all means, you're welcome to walk away from the video at this point. But anything I say, I'm not trying to bash on Ravensburger or the team or anything. But I think these can be really great events, and I would love to see improvement going forward. So this is coming from a place of love. If I'm not trying to hurt anyone's feelings, just trying to say, hey, these things could definitely make it a better experience. So here is the constructive criticism I have for it. First of all, Top Cut for these events is way too small. So there was about 2,000 people there. I think technically the number was like 1,900 something, but we'll just round that up shortly at 2,000 people. And Top Cut is only top 64. Now, technically they double the prizes because there's 2,000, but you still don't get to compete in the Top Cut for top 64. So like if you made top 128, yeah, you got to let it go promo, but you still didn't get to compete. That's absurd. For 2,000 people, it should be top 256. That is about 10% of the room. That means 90% of your room still isn't getting to participate. So it's not a participation award. It's not like everyone gets handed, a Top Cut and they all get to compete. No, you still have to earn your way into that. But at least you have a chance. Like 10% is way better than 64 is basically what, 3%? Like that's just terrible. It requires you to play so perfectly and to have such good luck to get up there that it just seems unreasonable for that many people in the room. So I would like to see them make Top Cut bigger. In particular, what I think should happen if they're going to continue with this 2-game format, which I hope they don't, and I'll get to that in a moment, but I think if you win 2/3 of your games, you should automatically make Top Cut. Don't make it point-based. Just say you must win 2/3 of your games. So with 9 rounds, 2 games every round, that's 18 games. So if you win 12 out of 18 games, you should automatically qualify for the Top Cut. And now you getting O2'd isn't nearly as detrimental as it is right now. You could get O2'd twice, but then as long as you win, 12 of your next 14 games in whatever fashion that is, whether it's a split or a bunch of 2-0s, you make it in. You don't then have to do a bunch of math. You don't have to, if this person gets this and then my tiebreaker is just, it's a flat, hey, you win the majority of your games, you win 2/3 of your games, you should be able to get in. That would mean you'd only need 3 2-0s, and if you split the rest of the day, you'd be in. Or again, an 0-2 wouldn't be nearly as devastating for you. So that's something I'd like to see them change. And kind of going into that, I just don't like 2-game format. And if you do, please let me know in the comments why you like it. Here's why I don't like it. One, it's not faster. I don't think so. The biggest thing is I don't think it solves any of the problems it attempts to address. It's not quicker. We were given 45 minutes for a 2-game format, and you're given 50 minutes for best of 3. So it really isn't even saving much time. And so many people were going to time anyway. One of the rounds, I think there was a 45-minute to an hour wait between round pairings because, I don't know, I guess people were going to time that much. So it doesn't really save any time. It doesn't, if anything, it encourages people to intentionally draw on the top cut, because if like you go 5-0 to start the day, you have no incentive to actually play out the games of Lorcana. It's actually in your best interest to just split the games with everyone you're there with. Surely that's not what they want, right? I mean, I know it's not, because they would announce it. Please play your games of Lorcana. You know, they didn't want you making deals. Okay, but you've made a system that encourages people to do that, because it's just too risky to go 5-0, and then what if you get 0-2'd 3 times and suddenly you find yourself on the back foot? Whereas again, if you use kind of the bubble system or the guarantee, hey, 12 games and you're in, then if you went 5-0, you'd, I mean, maybe that would still encourage splitting, because just like, all right, I'll just split my way into the top. But nonetheless, that's something 2-game doesn't fix. And then you would think the whole point of it was to give, how do I want to say this? Going first is a huge advantage in Disney Lorcana. And the 2-game format is supposed to mitigate that advantage, right? Because in a best of 3, if the player who goes first generally has the advantage, which they absolutely do, okay, I won the die roll. So I win game 1 going first, you win game 2 going first, I win game 3 going first. So it kind of came down to the die roll, because whoever went first every time wins. So in 2-game, the idea is that, well, you each get 1 chance to go first, therefore no one's really advantaged. Except it is, because it's very difficult to win going second in Lorcana. Not impossible, of course. Plenty of people have done it, but, you know, I've done it before, but it is more difficult. I have never heard anyone willingly want to go second in a game of Lorcana. If given the chance, hey, you win the die roll. Do you want to go first or second? Like in a normal best of 3. Nobody, I've never heard anyone go, you know what, I'll go second this time. Which I would love to see. They need to change how strong going first is. There should be times where you as a player go, you know what? I do want to go second this time. There should be a reason to choose going second, whereas right now you're crazy if you go second. Like if you want to win, you need to go first. So it doesn't fix that, and then it's this weird thing where it encourages you now, okay, so we want to make it fair. Each person gets a chance to go first, but also to make this top 3% top cut, you have to 2-0 tons of people. Like you cannot get into a top cut just by splitting all your games. Even under my suggested version, you would still essentially need to 2-0 3 people, if not more. That's asking a lot when you're stuck going second constantly. And I wrote down most of my, I wrote down my like a journal of all the games I played, how many die rolls I won, how many I lost. I had really bad die roll luck for the weekend. I lost like 2/3 of my die rolls. And most of the games I split, I usually would win the one I got to go first and would lose the one I got to go second. Not always. There was a few that was flipped for. But so in general, I just don't like the 2-game format. I appreciate them trying something different. That's nice that they wanted to try, but I just put it back to best of 3. And another weird thing too, I just don't find it satisfying. Like, oh, you won one, I won one. And so normally it's, all right, tiebreaker. Instead, you just go, all right, bye. And you get up and thanks for playing. So it has this feeling too of like, of unfinished business. It's like, well, we don't even know who really won the match between the two of us, because we each took one game and then we gave up and walked away. So I would love to just see it go back to best of 3. I hope that's something they do for the future. The ticket, I also wish for prizing, and this kind of goes in with like the tickets for the events too. I really wish they would up the prizing. For participating in the main event, let's say you weren't able to get any tickets, and I had a friend who was with where they really struggled and they didn't get many tickets, if any. They basically had a Dragonfire promo to show for that day for 12 hours of work. Like, some booster packs, like there's 4 sets, 1 from each set, even 2. Give me 1 Ursula's Return, 1 with the last set if you don't want to give out first chapter for whatever reason. Like, just something. The prizes just seemed so top heavy. Like, you should get booster packs just for playing. So a lot of these people traveled all the way to Texas, spent money on hotels and flights. Like, you can give them a couple booster packs. The tickets. So one of the big cards you can get from the prize wall is the Rapunzel, which I was able to get one, but she costs 20 tickets. Well, for going into a side event, constructed, best of 3, you get 4 tickets for entering. You get 4 tickets for every win you get. So 4, and then if you win all 3 games, that's 16. And then if you 3-0, you get a bonus of guess how many? That's right, 3 tickets. What? So yeah, so if you 3-0 in a constructed event, you get 19 tickets. Just one ticket shy of the Rapunzel. Why? That just feels so cheap. It's not like there's some other crazy thing you can get at 19 tickets. You can get a Cinderella for 18 and then you're one left over, but like clearly the Rapunzel is kind of like one of the big cards to get. Just make it 20 tickets. Like mathematically, it doesn't even make sense. I get 4, 4, 4, 4, 3. Like, it feels cheap. It feels like, well, oh, you want that one extra ticket? Guess you better do another event. Like, I've already traveled here. I've already paid my money. Just make it an even 20, an even 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. Like, so that didn't feel good. Same with the main event. Why not just 10 tickets per point? Or basically 1 point per ticket? Because the way it was is that if you got 10 points, I think you got like 8 tickets. And then if you got 20 points, you got 14 tickets. And if you got 30 points, you only got 20 tickets. Like, why not just make it a point per ticket per point? So you get 10, you get 10. You get 20, you get 20. 30, you get 30. You know, to get a Cinderella playmat, which I was able to get one with my friends, but we all had to secure it. We all had to pool our tickets to get it. 30 tickets is only a third of the way there. You got to get 60 more tickets to get more than that. So more tickets would be nice. Just, people are traveling. They want to do these events. You can give out packs, give out an even number of tickets. If you go 3-0 in a constructed event, that should earn you a single Rapunzel. The fact that it's 1 ticket shy, that did not feel good. Also for the prize wall, I would love to see older items on the wall. This game has not even been out a full year yet. It's coming up close, but not yet. And there's stuff you can't even get anymore. And it hasn't even been a year. That's kind of crazy to me. So they had playmats you could buy for 9 tickets a piece, but it was all the playmats I can buy from my local store. You know, the Tinkerbell and the Rapunzel, the one where she's hanging from her hair, and the Let It Go playmat, or How Far I'll Go playmat, which I have. But I can go to my local game shop and buy that for, $20, $15, whatever it is. So, I mean, what I really wanted was the Winnie the Pooh playmat from set 2, or the Steamboat Mickey one where he's, driving the steamboat. They didn't have that there. They just had the current stuff that, again, I could just go to my store and get. So, yeah, that would give it a special feeling, right? Hey, if you go to the challenge, you can get that elusive playmat that you haven't gotten yet. That would be a really cool feeling. So, I would love to see them update the prize wall for that. Finally, and arguably most importantly, I think we really need a comprehensive set of rules for this game, and this goes in with the judges too, and I'll go into what I mean by that. I come from the Final Fantasy trading card game, the Magic. I've played Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh!, and they have pretty extensive rules, and I very much understand how mechanics work in those games. And in Lorcana, there's still mechanics I don't really understand why it works that way. Like, why does Diablo, when he takes a Storm Rage on, why does he still draw a card for that? He doesn't die before he sees the card draw, which is kind of strange. No other card games would work with that. How does targeting work? Can you play a card without a legal target? The card Brawl, which says banish something of... Here, I'll pull it up right here on the... Let's read Brawl together. Brawl says banish chosen character with 2 strength or less. Situation had come up at one point where, if let's say I'm player A, I have a Flynn frenemy on the field. I've got this guy in the field. They have a Diablo, Devoted Herald, on the field, but it's at the Hidden Cove. So I play Brawl trying to target their Diablo. Oops, it's at the Hidden Cove. It doesn't qualify for Brawl. Am I forced to choose the Flynn Rider? The most universal answer I got was yes, you are forced to. Okay, can I play Brawl if there's nothing on the field? If it's an empty field, can I just cast Brawl just cuz? I really wish the rules really went into that, and I really wish the judges were more consistent. So there were 2 judge calls I was privy to that just seemed like they shouldn't have been called that way. So one of them, and I was right there when it happened, player A they're playing Green Steel Bucky, and they have Beast Tragic Hero on the field as well as a few other things. Player B passes their turn to player A. So player A untaps all their characters, goes to draw 2 cards for turn. The Beast has no damage on it, right? So you have your natural draw and the Beast draw, and they said out loud, draw for turn, draw for Beast. And the opposing player went, Judge, called a judge on them. Judge came over, and they basically rule sharked player A and said, hey, he said draw for turn, draw for Beast. And technically it's ready, set, draw. The Beast occurs in the set phase, so the Beast technically has to happen first. So he missed the trigger. And the Beast, here's the thing, the Beast is a mandatory trigger. It's not like Diablo, where Diablo says you may draw a card. Yeah, you can miss the trigger on Diablo. You can't miss the trigger on Beast. It's a mandatory trigger. He must either draw the card or get the 4 attack power if he has damage. And the judge ruled in favor of player B, who was rule sharking player A. And player A appealed the situation and got a deputy head judge to come over. And they still sided with player B and said, yeah, you missed the situation. You missed the trigger. You missed the mandatory trigger when he vocally said, okay, draw for turn, draw for Beast. Yeah, he technically said it in the right order, but he said it in one smooth, continuous sentence. Like anyone watching knows what he was doing. And it's absurd and so what they ruled, because he missed the trigger and he'd already drawn the cards, so he'd seen them, they made him put both cards into the deck, reshuffle the deck, and then just draw a single card for turn. What? That's ridiculous. That's just wrong. That is wrong. That should not be ruled that way. I mean, by that logic, so what? Do you have to vocally say ready, set, draw? It doesn't say that anywhere in the rules. Okay. So if you miss, you've got a Queen's Castle there and you don't add the lore the moment, you untap everything, you draw your card, and then you go to add your lore, can I go, you drew first. That was technically in the set phase. You missed it. That's ridiculous. Like, I've seen in other games too, there's no interaction during your opponent's turn. I've seen plenty of other games where people will, technically you're supposed to ready everything first and then draw, and people will draw and then ready. Like, they're all doing it as one part of this automatic process that happens at the beginning of every turn. To rule shark someone over that is not only ridiculous, but for a judge to side with that rule sharked player, where again, any rational person could see what this, that the dude was just drawing his 2 for turn. Yeah, he said it in the wrong order. But okay, so what if he didn't say it at all? What if he was just quiet and just drew 2 cards? Can you call him on that because he didn't vocally declare what automatically happens? Like, I don't think you should have to declare every turn. And I played a lot of people this week who did this. Draw for turn. I shouldn't have to say draw for turn. It occurs every single turn. Why do I have to announce that I'm drawing a card for turn? Like, or if that's what you want the rule to be, which I would highly disagree with, but if that's what you want, then why isn't that in the official rules? I don't know how you plan for that or anticipate that. So that just felt wrong. Saw another situation where player A is waiting for their turn. Player B does whatever they do on their turn, and they pass the turn. They vocally say, okay, pass to you. So player A readies their stuff, goes to grab their card, and then player B goes, oh, wait a minute, I didn't quest with this card, and then goes to quest with it. And player A now calls the judge, hey, he passed the turn to me. I'd already unreadied my stuff, and then he changed his mind and said, well, no, actually, I didn't get to do this. Now, in my head, I would side with player A in that situation. If it's a locals, I'll probably be cool and let you take it back. But if this is a big tournament with money on the line and you tell me you've passed your turn and now I've already started going through the process of my turn, I'm sorry, you missed your turn. Well, the judge sided with player B and said, you're basically, well, it's okay. He can go back and do it. Why? Why is that okay? And there seems to just be an inconsistency there. So I just, in the future, want to see a consistency from the judges, from the rules. I want to know how something works ahead of time. I want to know how a card interaction works. And if I have to be so rigid and stiff that I must declare ready, set, draw every turn, well, I think that's ridiculous. But if you want it to be that tight and rigid, you need to put that in the rules. So it was just really unfortunate to see those situations. And the first one too, the rule shark, that player A ended up losing that game, and they missed out on a let it go promo. They were 3 points shy of that Let It Go promo. And what they had drawn for turn, they had drawn Stormray John with an Ursula double singer on the board. So like they were about to pop off with if they were allowed to keep that hand, and then they made them get rid of the hand. So, you know, I can understand that player kind of being bitter and feeling like, dude, they cost me a Let It Go promo. Like I should have a Let It Go. That's ridiculous. So yeah, just consistency. Consistency is a huge thing. You know, people, I want to be, I don't want to be afraid to call a judge because they're going to side against me in what feels like should clearly be something in my favor. So that's all I have to say on that. Thanks for watching. If you went, I hope you had a great time. Hope you have a good time if you go to Toronto, Vegas. I've got a lot more fun videos planned. We've got set 5 just around the corner. I'll do some set reviews. I would love to try to get more videos out, but just work has been difficult lately, so I have very limited time, but I'm going to try it. Thank you again to Ravensburger for putting it on. I did enjoy myself. I will say, though, I probably won't go to any more of these if 2-game format continues. And, you know, maybe that's sour grapes for me, but I do way better as a player in best of 3 than I do in best of 2. I just split constantly in best of 2. And again, maybe that's my fault, and I'll totally accept that, but I don't want to play in that. I want to play in a best of 3, so those are just my thoughts on it. Let me know if you've gone to one of these, what your thoughts are below. Hope you've had a great time. What are things you think they could improve upon? What are things maybe I didn't mention that you thought they did really, really well? So hope you're having a great time. I appreciate you watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time, take care.